And we should be set up here now. Are we live? How's it going, everybody? Happy Earth Day. Cody Simpson here, taking over Bond's Australia's Instagram Live. Just wanted to jump on, play a couple tracks, ask you a couple questions. If you guys have any questions you want to ask that I can answer at the end of this live, at the end of this takeover, I'll be happy to do so. Wanted to thank Bonds for having me on and wish all of you a happy Earth Day. Bonds has dropped their Earth Day hoodie, which has been released today. And I'm going to post a little swipe up link in their stories at the end of this live so you guys can check it out, and also post it on my page as well. Considering it's Earth Day, I'm going to sing you a couple tracks, sing you something I wrote that was inspired heavily by my wanting to preserve and conserve the planet. And then I'm going to read you some poetry from my new book, Prince Neptune, that just came out. And then ask, see if you guys have any questions for me. Happy Earth Day, everyone. This is a song called Wilderness from my album, Free. Have you been dreaming of the wilderness? Have you been wondering how far it is? We will go just to show that we're the mightiest on the globe as it rolls into oblivion. Have you been dreaming of the ocean too? There's heartless hands letting the oil through till the blue isn't blue, where you take a stand to the man and his plan to wash away the truth. Yeah. Oh no, washed away. Are you unconscious in your worried mind? Don't forget mountains were made to climb to the sky. That's where you'll find crystal clementine coming down with a sigh as she begins to cry. Then it rains upon the trees with their hands left in the ground. Let the water trickle through to the thirsty river mouth. The sun will shine on through every shadow of a doubt. Save us from this endless drought. Have you been dreaming of the wilderness? Have you been wondering how far it is? We will go just to show that we're the mightiest on the globe as it rolls into oblivion. Thank you guys. That track was called Wilderness, and that was off my album Free. Just wanted to sing that in celebration of Earth Day, as I wrote that in celebration of and in the hope of preserving our planet and inspiring other people to do so too. Bonds has given me a couple questions that some of you guys have submitted. The first one's from Angie107. It goes, when will you release your album? So basically, I just released a new track with my poetry book. This song's called Captain's Dance with the Devil, and it came out this month. And there's something else coming not too long from now that I'm going to sing you a little snippet of in just a little while. Someone said, what's one thing you want to try but haven't? That's from @NewEraCS. I like your username there. What's one thing you want to try but haven't? Skydiving, free skydiving, not tandem. I've jumped out of a plane once, but we had somebody on my back, and I want to do it completely free fall sometime. It would be the biggest rush ever. Someone asked, what influences you most in your daily life during this time? Sarah Alexander asked me that, and I'd say reading, writing, music, finding new albums to listen to, new books to read. I got like a ton of like little newspapers and books and things that inspire me here in this room. Honestly, music, art, literature, keep me going, keep me motivated and optimistic during this time, as I'm sure it does for a lot of you guys too. Now is a great time for us to be reading books that we wouldn't usually have the time to read, listening to albums, deep diving into things that we wouldn't usually have the time to deep dive into. Someone said, what have been your biggest inspirations for your poetry book? I think just wanting to be heard and wanting to write something honest more than anything. Wanting to share and involve many people in a private world of thought. Another one is, how are you keeping healthy during isolation? That is @Samantha Summers. For me, I've been exercising every day, trying to stay fit. I'm trying to keep up with my regular routine while being stuck at home, just consolidating my workouts into smaller spaces. And that's how I'm trying to stay physically healthy, but just as important is staying mentally healthy, staying positive and staying creative. And so I've found that learning or practicing my guitar has been helpful, learning new things. I'm trying to pick up learning French, trying to pick up little hobbies and learn things, do puzzles, do things that I wouldn't usually have the time to do, just to keep your brain moving, because I think that's just as important as exercising your body is exercising your mind. Someone said, @from Gabrielle, what's your proudest achievement? And I'd have to say one of recently is the release of my poetry book, Prince Neptune, that I'm sure some of you guys watching either have a copy or have ordered a copy already. For those of you that haven't, it's my debut collection of poetry and prose. It just came out. My first effort as a writer, as a published writer and published author, and I couldn't have been prouder the moment I had it in my hands. It was almost like the moment I first had a physical copy of my very first album in my hands. And for me, like, the journey into and the venture into the world of literature was kind of just as important to me as my ventures into the world of music, in the realms of music. And so holding that first copy in my hands was one of the proudest moments I've had in a while. And with that, I'm going to read you some work from the book that I have pulled up right here. And this is the very, very first poem in the book. It goes, well, it's a piece of prose, actually. The book kind of reads like a notebook. It's like my consolidated collection of everything I've, filled up several notebooks with over the last, 4 or 5 years. This goes, in this hour before dawn, kitchen lights in houses speckled around the harbor are starting to twinkle like stars. Boats sway softly anchored, undulating in the currents beneath the death-black silk cloak of the sea. The soft bed of morning slowly rising like dough in the heat of the new Australian sun for another day of progression, obsession, and concession. The jeweled dawn passes in ephemeral fashion, and big famous God in the sky only paints with his big famous colors for a moment before his boredom sets in and he washes the canvas blue until he feels like becoming an artist again. I'd better be a poet or lay down and die. And that's the very first poem in the book. This one goes, is language but a means of avoiding silence in one's own solitude, or are we obligated as humans to use words in an attempt to articulate silence? The poetry lies not in the words, but in the silence between those. I'm going to read you one more that's an environmental poem that, considering today in Australia it's Earth Day, I want to read you an environmental poem. This goes, the closer you are to the elements, the closer to the source, the closer to authentic and original matter, the more spirit-oriented you become. Nature breeds instinct, so surround yourself with original matter whenever possible. Barefoot on grass, swim in ocean, hold stones, touch trees, walk on sand. You'll feel better. These are all poems from my new collection of poetry that just came out. And for those of you talking, someone said OMG your hair. And yep, I buzzed the head about 2 weeks ago with my buddies over at 4 Ocean, where they helped me coin the hashtag Clean Cuts for Clean Oceans challenge, in which everyone that does this either buzzes their head or cuts their hair. They're going to pick up a pound or remove a pound of trash from the ocean. And so for those of you who would do it, just give the old hashtag, post a picture of it, tag me, tag them, and they're going to try and help us clean these oceans and raise awareness. I'm going to sing you something else that I haven't sang before. So I'm giving Bonds a little musical exclusive. This is the next song that's coming out in conjunction with the book, the second of Nep's tunes, following Captain's Dance with the Devil, that's out now. This is the first time I've ever played it. This is a song called Castle Walls.
Fully.
Yo! I'm doing this thing real quick.
Oh, sorry. Are you on my thing?
Yeah. For like 5 minutes.
Hi. 6 feet, people.
Uh-oh. Throwback.
Bye.
See you there. See you in a second. It's called Castle Walls. You tied me down to your velvet chair. Untied your gown, yeah. We ain't going nowhere. The ancient sun, the devil's moon. I can't run. You'll be here soon, so I let out a howl as the castle walls come down. Your corset, oh yes, the one that you have on. Let out the laces, oh, we have just begun. The wise old sun, silent moon, it cannot run, no, not for you, so I let out a howl as the castle walls come down. Wrong chord right there. as the castle walls come down. There you go. That's a little snippet into what's coming. If you guys have any more questions, I want to answer a couple more questions before we sign off here. I want to thank Bonds for having me again, and I want to wish everybody a happy Earth Day today in Australia, tomorrow in the States, and then I also wanted to let you know that Bonds just dropped their Earth Day hoodie. I'm gonna drop a little swipe up link in my stories and here on theirs, not long after this, and I have one here, which is amazing, but I'm wearing one of their little chesties right now. So if you guys have any other questions, Crimson asked, what are you doing to celebrate Earth Day? Basically just trying to be a good earthling, you know, avoid any single-use plastics, reduce my consumption of, meat, not eating too much meat, doing simple things like that, help us reduce our carbon emissions, reduce our footprint. I'm driving an electric car now, which is cool. Haven't really been going anywhere, so that's been helping. I've been looking at a lot of the graphs that people are sharing, the scientists and people are sharing about the reduction in CO2 with everybody that's been staying inside, and so that's kind of one of the positive things, about this whole thing. Someone said, what's been keeping you motivated during isolation? And I'd have to say just being creative, staying creative, being in a constant state of creation and keeping yourself in that space, especially in solitude. I'm most creative in solitude, so I've had a lot of time in solitude to keep writing music, obviously, but just staying as positive and staying as optimistic as I can, and staying in that state of creation. Pretty much written probably 5 or 6 songs in the last couple of weeks. Bridie asked, how was shooting with Bonds? Super cool, especially shooting their underwear campaign. That was my first time ever doing an underwear campaign. Didn't think I'd be doing one of those, but doing it with Bonds was epic because I grew up wearing their stuff, and them being like a pretty iconic Australian brand. It was really rad to be able to work with them. Eleanor asked, have you been learning something new during quarantine? I've been trying to start learning French, which has been a little tough, but trying to do that and trying to practice my guitar and develop my craft and things like that. Caylee asked, what is a chesty? That's pretty much an Australian slang for tank top or singlet. Someone asked if you tasted earth salad. I have no idea what that is. Courtney asked, will you ever release Somewhere? Such a beautiful song. I think so, yeah. I put up the voice memo on my page of that song and on my IGTV, but I've been thinking about recording it professionally soon. And, I'm looking to, I'm basically just like still figuring out the track listing for my next thing, but that's definitely a contender. Poetry or music, if you could only do one, from Gabrielle asked. I'd have to say music, because I think poetry can still find its way into music in the lyrics, so I kind of get a little 2-in-1. I'm dancing around that question there, but I have to say music. Maddie asked, this is a good question, any chance of coming to Australia to play some music? Absolutely. I was planning on coming home right before all this happened, until travel bans happened and all this quarantine went down, but I would love to come back as soon as all this cools down and as soon as a lot of the restrictions are lifted and things like that. But hopefully coming home as soon as I can. I'm going to sing you one more song, and then I'm going to jump off, but this is something I wrote and put out really recently in conjunction with my book, and this is called Captain's Dance with the Devil. This young sailor's going to drown. This old ship is sinking down. and his cheeks are black and blue, and he's murdered all his crew. This young sailor is gonna drown. This young man is going to die. Cursed as soon as he saw the sky. The clouds are black as hell, and as far as we can tell, this young man is going to die. He's off to do the devil's dance, waiting deep in hand with the man. He's off to learn the devil's craft, but to him it's the only freedom for a man. Someone said, can you make a TikTok dance to this song? That would be so sus. Death is the... This is definitely the darkest song I've ever written by far. Come on, guys. The youngest captain the world's ever seen. I got it. Striking a lightning bolt dream. I can't even sing properly now. Only 17, far beyond his feet. Let me finish this song off if I can, seriously. The youngest captain the world's ever seen. Pose on the rocks outside. I can't even do it. He's off to do the devil's work. But hang on, guys, I can't even look at these comments right now. It's so funny. I sleep on how funny you guys are. He's off to do the devil's work, but to him it's a favor for a friend. I can't even concentrate. He's off to learn the devil's craft. I can't even sing. I'm completely sober, by the way. This is insane. Thank you guys for making me laugh, by the way. It's amazing. He's off to do the devil's work, but to him it's a favor for a friend. Oh, no. He's off to learn the devil's craft, but to him it's the only freedom for a man. And death is the only freedom for a man. And death is the only freedom for a man. I can't even do this anymore. I love you guys. Thank you, Bonds, and happy Earth Day, everyone. My fans are the best. I love you guys more than anything in the world. I'm going to try and make a TikTok to this song now. I'm saving the live, by the way. Don't you worry about that. I'll see you soon.